2023. That year, she was 4th on the squad in goals scored with 9, all in a 12-game span. Her favorite memory on the team was winning an ODAC championship and making it to the NCAA Elite Eight. Upon graduation, Olivia will receive her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. She plans to pursue a career in nursing and go back to school to become a nurse practitioner. Today, she is accompanied by her parents, Bonnie and Steve, and her brother, Jake. Finally, we honor a senior from Glen Allen, Virginia, Riley Wine-Fortner. Riley has been on the team for all 4 years at Lynchburg. Some achievements she's earned throughout her time here include being a 2023 Female Academic Athlete of the Year, the 2022 Achievement in Drawing Award, the 2021 Most Improved Player Award, and a 3-time Field Hockey Scholar of Distinction. She has been on the Dean's List every semester and started a Delight Ministries at Lynchburg in 2022 and was a Delight Ministries leader for 3 years. Riley's favorite memory on the team was scoring the game-winning goal on Shelley in the 2023 ODAC Championship. Upon graduation, she will receive her BA in Studio Art and Graphic Design. In the future, she plans to work as a graphic designer and a studio artist. Riley is accompanied by her parents, Scott and Suzanne, and her sister, Neely. Let's give one more round of applause for our graduating class.
Hello and welcome to the Hill City for a big-time showdown here in the world of field hockey. It's a top 15 matchup here between Shenandoah and Lynchburg, a clash between both of the Hornets and both teams tied for first place in the ODAC, undefeated through conference play, and the regular season finale between both of these teams will determine who will jump into the top 10 in the national rankings, who will walk away with the first seed in the ODAC tournament, and who will be crowned regular season champions. Hello and welcome into the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Brennan. Your eyes here today at Shenandoah Field. It should be a good one. A lot of festivities. You can feel the energy and the buzz between these two Hornets as we start to get going. Lynchburg celebrating senior day today with their 3 seniors. This has been a matchup that we've all been waiting for all season long, and feels like they've been on a crash course collision for one another. They've cruised through their regular season schedule, especially in the ODAC slate. 7-0 for both of these squads. For Shenandoah, they got off to, in their eyes, what you would classify as a shaky start with 2 losses in their first 4 games, but they haven't dropped a game since September 4th, and you see why on your screen. 3.76 goals per game, while also allowing under a goal per game. This is a team that has one of, if not the best, defenses in a national landscape. And on the flip side of things, you have the Lynchburg Hornets, a team that also hasn't dropped a game since the last week of September. They come in with one of the most explosive offenses in the conference, over 4 goals per game, that can find a lot of different ways to beat you. The Lynchburg Hornets, not just 1 or 2 different players that lead the way offensively. They have Jill Pleiter with 9 goals this season, Grace Peterson with 8, Maddie Schuchter with 7, Doris Stein and Madison Mark with 6. The list goes on and on. A lot of different players that can beat you in a lot of different ways. Now, on the flip side of things, for Shenandoah, this is a team that has a handful of players that can get the job done, but 2 in particular that really stand out at you. Cassidy Morrison and Farron Winter. Those 2 players, 1st and 3rd in the ODAC for goals per game. Morrison with 18 on the season, Winter with 13. Winter also with 7 assists on the year. That's tied for a team first with Elizabeth Randberger, who has 7 assists and 7 goals. This team certainly has lots of playmakers, but Morrison and Winter are the 2 girls you really need to look out for today, because they can find ways to beat you. 18 goals in 54 shots. A third of her shots finding the back of the cage. That's a big reason why she leads the ODAC, and a lot of teams with goals. That is, the stage has been set. We'll have the national anthem coming up momentarily, and from there, we will have the action headed our way. Stick with us here on LHSN.
I am a first-generation college student. I applied to 16 universities, and I actually had decided on going to a different university, but doing FAFSA and everything on my own, and the the need for a good credit with the Parent Plus loan and everything like that, my plans kind of fell through. I just couldn't give up hope. So I'm wrestling through this like shoebox I have full of like acceptance letters and financial aid letters. And I got my financial aid reward letter, and I also received scholarships from the school, and it was, the most affordable for me. They were excited to work with me. Financial aid really helped me out a lot with getting that situated. And I've just considered it a blessing ever since to go from 1 week not knowing whether or not I had to stay home for a year, and then the next week, knowing that this is where I'm going. It was meant to be, and obviously I consider this place my home, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me, who need a shot and who are getting one without donations, without you individuals that are helping to donate to the university and the Lynchburg Fund. There would be no student body president, Davion Washington. There'd probably be I'm stuck at home, Davion Washington. And so there's a lot to be thankful for, and it's definitely the people that donate. And like I said, not only is your donation building leaders, but it's building leaders like myself and others that will hopefully want to pay it forward one day and do the same thing. I know for a fact that, you know, when I have it, because I will, I want to give back to this university that provided me a home for 4 years.
It's a Saturday showdown between the two Hornets here in Lynchburg, Virginia. It's the Lynchburg Hornets and the Shenandoah Hornets. The two teams undefeated in conference play here meeting each other in the season finale here in the regular season. With postseason play just around the corner, both of these teams hunting for an ODAC regular season title and the first overall seed in the conference tournament. Lynchburg, they've got a whole lot of playmakers, but one player you need to keep your eyes on all day long is Kanye Mazizi. Mazizi started off to the season slower than we're accustomed to from a statistical standpoint, but in the last 3 games, she has showed up and shown out. A 2-goal performance 2 games ago, 1 goal in last game, and an assist 3 games ago. She has found different ways to really impact this Hornet offense. Meanwhile, we mentioned her in the open. On the flip side of things, it's Cassidy Morrison here today for Shenandoah, and is expected to have a big time impact for this Hornet squad. We are underway and rolling here on Schellenberger Field. A big-time showdown between these two squads as this big swing goes back out the back line. Lynchburg takes over in their own territory. It's Avery Watkins trying to hook up with Danny Kuhn. Rolls past her. And good field position here for Shenandoah. Now into the corner is Morrison. Morrison, a centering feed that's poked away. Now Danny Kuhn on the near sideline. She'll toss it up to Madison Mark, one of the 3 seniors being celebrated today here for Lynchburg. Shenandoah trying to make some noise and get into this semicircle. It's Winter. And just like that, Shenandoah draws a foul. They'll get their first penalty corner of the day. The feed will be from Madison Short, the junior midfielder out of Bridgeville, Delaware. The injector goes up top to the wing. Here's a big swing and a big-time save by Shai Schoons. The matchup between the posts today will be one that we'll certainly have our eyes on all day long. From a statistical standpoint, Taylor Swan for Shenandoah is about as good as you can get. .829 save percentage so far this season. That's the second best in the conference. In terms of goals allowed per game as well, second place, .78, only behind of Bridgewater's Ashley New. But in shutouts, she claims that first spot in the conference, 6 so far this season. Now on the flip side of things, for Lynchburg, it's been back and forth so far this season between Shai Schoons and Samira Garavi. Schoons got the nod to begin the regular season. After going down with a concussion and missing a few games, Garavi stepped in, and it really didn't feel like Lynchburg lost any form of production whatsoever, as this inside feed rolls just past Swan out of bounds. Once Shai was back to full health, she re-enters between the pipes, but it's been relatively split between her and Garavi. One day you might see one keeper more so than the other, but for the most part, they've been back and forth and really shared that role. Nonetheless, Shy, from a statistical standpoint, save percentage has been solid as Mizizi takes a big swing, a tomahawk chop that rolls too far inside. Mizizi already looking to play aggressive here today from the start. Now it's Freeman with a nice crossover into the semicircle. Tries to poke it out to Kuhn, but they'll call a kick on Lynchburg. Shenandoah will take over in their defensive third. From a statistical standpoint, Shy does have the lowest save percentage in the ODAC at .647 so far this year. Also towards the bottom of that list in terms of shutouts, but granted, only 10 games played compared to her counterpart today in Swan with 17 games played on the season, who's started in every single contest for Shenandoah. Here Shenandoah reverses the field. They've got room out in front. We've seen our player to watch, Cassidy Morrison, heavily involved here right from the get-go. The 5'5" grad student out of Culpeper, Virginia, has been excellent so far this year. She's earned 3 Offensive Player of the Week selections already. And certainly more to come as postseason play is anticipated. Another penalty corner won by Shenandoah. That's going to be an interesting facet of this game to follow all day long. Both of these teams dominate their opposition in terms of penalty corners taken per game. As the season's progressed, we've seen how Lynchburg has steadily improved in that respective category. Injector up top right to the castle. Winter swings it over, extra pass, finds the back netting. A deflection off the glove of Schoons, and Shenandoah jumps out in front, 1-0. It looked like that was a laser off the stick of De La Viva. And the 5'4" defenseman out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, records the first goal of the afternoon. The team that we said has 1 or 2 or 3 real playmakers that can fill up a stat sheet. It's Deliva with her 5th goal of the season. So far this year, the Lynchburg Hornets have been undefeated in ODAC play and undefeated on Schellenberger. Those 2 statistical categories bode well for you. But on the flip side, 1-2 against their ranked opponents. They picked up a ranked win on the road against Ursinus earlier this season, while also dropping 2 games as they played Byron Marr and York. Let's take another look at that goal. The injection up top, over to Winter. The extra pass, wide open. Deflected off the stick of Mizizi, it looked like. A difficult bounce for Schoons to follow the whole way. That brings us to a 1-0 score right here. Danny Kuhn will check out. Margot Smith, the freshman forward, taking her place. Back and forth here at midfield. Freeman trying to create some separation, but poked away by Winter. A very veteran presence on this Shenandoah team, I may add. We mentioned just 3 seniors on the Lynchburg team that have been celebrated today on Senior Day in Madison. Mark, Olivia Van Meter, and Riley Weinfordner. But on Shenandoah's side of things, as Mississippi takes a big swing. Now on the doorstep is Pleiter. Pleiter trying to find the back netting, but great defense from Shenandoah to get it out of trouble. They go back up top to Freeman on the wing. And a penalty corner for Lynchburg. For Shenandoah, 4 grad students on this squad, along with a handful of seniors. That veteran talent has certainly impacted their season this year. It's been a phenomenal year, to say the least, for Shenandoah. Once again, they have not lost since September 10th. Here's the swing. Great stop out in front by Taylor Swan. Now on the far sideline, a battle for it. And there's daylight for Shenandoah. Now out in front, Randberger, a 2-on-1. Randberger trying to work around Schoons, a big-time stick save, pokes it free, and earns possession. Oh no, pardon me, they'll say last touched by Schoons. Shenandoah will try and operate quickly. The feed into the semicircle, a big swing, Schoons jumps on top of it. Pokes it out in bad positioning, and Shenandoah can't capitalize. Wide open on the doorstep, they can't punch it through. That would have been a devastating 2-0 lead here in the first quarter. Shenandoah applying plenty of pressure here, making things very difficult for Lynchburg to clear it downfield. They'll call obstruction right there from Farron Winter. And Sar Prinz comes onto the field for Lynchburg. Weinfordner will also check out. Mallory Lamb will take her spot. A great crowd here today between these two programs. Obviously, Lynchburg Faithful's been showing up strong all season long, but a whole lot of blue in the crowd today as well. Shenandoah, a great program that follows their talent. Also a big battle between the coaches today. You have coaches in very, very different perspectives. Here in her first season, head coach Jenny Relaford, as you can see, that last sequence with Shai Schoons jumping on top of it. The coaching is a big-time storyline today as well. Jenny Relaford, obviously in her first year at the helm for Lynchburg. Undefeated in ODAC play at the head coaching position. 7 games up, 7 games down. She's been phenomenal for the Hornets, and a big part of that has been her recruiting while she's been with the program. Has been here since 2015. Looking for a big-time statement win today would be a regular season champion in ODAC play in her first year. Now, on the other side of things, you have Ashley Smetzler-Kraft in her 12th season here with Shenandoah, the 2016 ODAC Coach of the Year. Plenty of experience with the Shenandoah Hornets as Lynchburg now into this semicircle has a good opportunity. Pleiter in a battle for it. Pleiter gets herself free. Now looking to dish it off to somebody else, but nobody's home. Sent out of the circle by Shenandoah. It'll be a penalty corner here for the Hornets. This is the situation where you got to keep an eye on 13 in black and red. Aurora Balsamo, the junior midfielder, has been the go-to girl in these kind of situations. An absolute laser off the stick. Where will Schuchter go? Up to the castle. Now to Balsamo. Balsamo, a soft shot deflected by Swan. Sent out of the semicircle, but another penalty corner for the Lynchburg Hornets. Aurora Balsamo, we've seen her time and time again here on Schellenberger Field capitalize on these situations. 3 goals off penalty corners here at home this season. Schuchter once again back up top to the castle. Saar Prinz, extra pass over to Muir. Muir to Balsamo, ricocheted around. Schuchter trying to tip it in on the doorstep. They'll call a foul on Schuchter. She didn't agree with it. Hands up in the air. The officials will congregate and determine a call. Shenandoah ball. Lynchburg to reverse the field. Near side for Stifler. Stifler just slowly working her way downfield. Finds Margot Smith. She tries to hook up with Freeman, but it's intercepted. Now Shenandoah off to the races. Batted out of bounds. They'll say last touch by Shenandoah's Elizabeth Randberger. Great defensive stand by Shenandoah, but Dorestein returns the favor with an interception of her own, feeds it to a white jersey. These two teams have been about as equal as you can find in one quarter of action. 5 shots for Lynchburg, 4 for Shenandoah, one of which snuck past the keeper in Shai Schoons. Ms. Izzy trying to showcase her phenomenal stick work. That is one thing that really separates her from a lot of other players in the ODAC. But a penalty on Lynchburg and right back to Shenandoah. Time and time again this season, we've mentioned the inexperienced young talent of the Lynchburg Hornets. Freshman Jill Pleiter leads the team in goals. She's followed by freshman Grace Peterson with 8. Another freshman on the doorstep with Maddie Schuchter. The 3 goal-scoring leaders for the Hornets, all freshmen. And then shortly followed by a group of sophomores, and Anna Dorestein tied for second with 6. Now, for Shenandoah, it has all been veteran talent with 4 grad students and 6 seniors in their lineup. You add a lot of veteran talent and veteran presence that has seen a lot over the last few years in ODAC play. They've really capitalized this season. Their only 2 losses were to Johns Hopkins and to Washington College. That Johns Hopkins game, a tough one. Johns Hopkins 5th currently in the national rankings. That was one of their 2 losses in top 25 play. They also picked up key wins. The highlight of this season was a win against Salisbury. That was one of 2 Salisbury losses thus far. Salisbury currently 2nd in the national rankings, also receiving votes for first place, 17 to be exact, in the NFHCA polls. But whoever can pick up a win today most likely will jump into the top 10 and could potentially really border on that top 5. Nonetheless, these are two teams that could very well find a postseason run, not only in the ODAC tournament, but the national tournament as well, as Scoons watches it roll out of play. And that will conclude our first quarter of action. And what a quarter it was. 9 total shots between these two teams. It's Shenandoah claiming an early advantage after a goal from the sophomore defenseman in D'Oliva. Hornets trail by 1. Second quarter coming up here on LHSN. Second quarter of action headed our way here from the Hill City at Schellenberger Field. It's the Lynchburg Hornets trailing the Shenandoah Hornets 1-0 through the first quarter of action. It's been a fun one so far, and it's been a game that we've expected to live up to the hype. Both of these teams currently tied for first place in the ODAC standings. Not much of a surprise there. Both undefeated through conference play. And these two teams have a deep history with one another. If you look at the all-time meetings between these two programs, Lynchburg controls the advantage heavily since the early 2000s, 2004, as far as back as we have the numbers for. 24 wins for Lynchburg, 3 wins for Shenandoah. Lynchburg currently with a 3-game win streak over this team as well. And two teams that are also quite familiar with one another in terms of postseason play. We've talked a whole lot about the senior class. These two groups of seniors, I think it's safe to say they don't like one another. In the last 3 years, they've met 3 times in the ODAC tournament. Last year, Lynchburg won the ODAC title in the championship game. These two teams saw each other. The Hornets a 2-1 win over Shenandoah. And the 2 years before that, these teams met in the semifinals. In both of those, it was a 3-1 win for Lynchburg. Shenandoah trying to get over the hump, or the hill, if you will, and try and take down the Hornets in the Hill City today to claim that first overall seed in the conference tournament and to claim a regular season ODAC title as well. Out of bounds near sideline. Madison Short will approach. He'll have the hit in. Sends it back. And Shenandoah will try and build from behind. whole lot of congestion at midfield. Danny Kuhn wanted a call, didn't get it, rolls out of play, and deja vu right back to where we started. Won by Avery Watkins. Watkins gets a whistle. Not a whole lot of room to operate. Cassidy Morrison making life difficult for this Lynchburg back line. Watkins fighting with Morrison once again. She's tripped up. And Shenandoah just continuing to march downfield. Whistle inside the semicircle called on Shenandoah. Lynchburg will take over. A big swing just trying to get it downfield, but Shenandoah takes it right back, now approaching the semicircle. Obstruction call on Freeman. Shenandoah will waste no time, gets into the semicircle and earns another penalty corner. That's their third of the day. Now 3 penalty corners for both of these teams. Through about 18 and a half minutes. Madison Short as the injector. Winding it up, letting it fly. Scoons gets a big time save. And a whistle on Shenandoah. Winter called for a kick. There have not been many teams that have challenged Lynchburg with this kind of pressure in their own defensive third this season. The most we've seen here on Schellenberger was against Rowan, when the Rowan Profs caused a lot of issues for the Hornets early on. However, they were able to slowly figure it out as the games progressed. Lynchburg hasn't completely figured it out quite yet. Schuchter tries to clear it. Schuchter was looking for Callie Short running in transition. Now a good opportunity for Shenandoah, 2-on-1. Entry feed, batted away. Great defense from Dorestein to get it out of the semicircle. Once again, Dorestein with a great challenge, but this time with a whistle. Winter loses the handle. Balsamo gets in the mix, and Balsamo draws the foul. Here's Avery Watkins over to Dorestein. Dorestein, another good feed, but it's to a white jersey. Shenandoah has controlled in the semicircle here through 5 minutes of the second quarter. Large part due to the consistent fouls on Lynchburg. Weinferdner looking for Schuchter. Those two can't connect. But they'll say last touch by a white jersey. And another foul on Lynchburg before they can cross midfield. High flying lift shot. And they keep it in bounds, yes. But out of bounds on Lynchburg. It might have just been a foul. Nonetheless, hit out of bounds. One official pointed towards Shenandoah possession, another towards Lynchburg. But the back official overruling for a Shenandoah possession. Beautiful stick work on the far sideline. Velasquez weaving her way through traffic. On the doorstep. He'll go back up to the blue line. And another foul on Lynchburg. They have been riddled with penalties here in the second quarter. Schuchter tries to take it herself, tackled immediately. Shenandoah's sideline very unhappy with that call. Lynchburg will try and reverse the field. They've got an opening. Quickly closed up by this stout Shenandoah defense. This is the kind of affair where you're not sure if it's going to be high scoring or low scoring, with two teams that have been phenomenal on both ends of the field so far this year, but you know it's going to be a tight one no matter what happens. Dorestein stripped by Short. Madison Short. Her feed last, touched out of bounds by Danny Kuhn. Short with a hard hit ball, knocked down by Freeman. Dorestein with a nice play over to Mark. Mark now lays it out in front for Weinferdner. Weinferdner loses her footing. Easy call on Madison Mark. Stick tangled up between the legs of a white jersey. Shenandoah just continues to dominate possession. Last season, when these two teams met in the championship, it was the squad that found the back of the net first that pulled away. Lynchburg had the first goal in that matchup in the 14th minute. It was Riley Cameron on an assist from Boatwright. Neither of those players still with Lynchburg this season, but it was Riley Weinferdner that had the game winner in the 33rd minute. Despite a Cassidy Morrison goal in the final corner, it was too little too late for Shenandoah. After Weinferdner, who's now being celebrated today on Senior Day, tucked away the game winner for the ODAC championship. Towards midfield for Shenandoah is Kylie Villos. Lynchburg still trying to get it in their offensive third for the first time in the second quarter. For 12 and a half minutes, they haven't been able to do so. Despite that fact, Shenandoah has only gotten off 2 shots here in the second quarter, neither of which have been able to add another point to the scoreboard. Here's Winter working on Mizizi. Feeds inside, a backhanded shot that hits the outer part of the goal. Now what this second quarter's been all about, can Lynchburg clear it and get it in their offensive third towards that semicircle? Way downfield for Pleiter, trying to spark a transition opportunity, quickly tackled. Morrison keeps it in bounds, then last touched out of play by Megan Stifler. Here's Stifler. Big swing. Great connection. Schwartzbrough. The centering feed picked off by Lamb. Mallory Lamb looking for Danny Kuhn, streaking downfield. Not enough gas to get there in time. Now Pleiter out in front. She's got daylight. She doesn't have numbers. And she's immediately tackled. Incredible defense. It's the sophomore defenseman that found the only goal today in DeLiva. DeLiva with 1 of 3 defensive saves on the season for Shenandoah. A crucial part of their backline defense. And Lynchburg with a penalty corner opportunity, their best opportunity here in the second quarter with under a minute left to go. The Hornets have not gotten off a shot in about 17 minutes. A lot of weapons in their arsenal up towards the castle. We highlighted Balsamo earlier. They've tried her twice on penalty corners today. This is their 4th. Schuchter, the injection up top to the castle. Watkins lets it go. Watkins just barely misses the outside. And Shenandoah will take over. He had Schuchter right there ready to tip it in. Pardon me. Last touch by Shenandoah. Lynchburg maintains possession. Far sideline for Lynchburg. A lot of pressure applied. Send it back to the blue line. Mizizi working her way through, lacerating this defense. Mizizi, ball kicked out. Great defensive stand from the keeper in Swan. Shenandoah holds on to it, and that will end our second quarter. Through one half, it has been back and forth. The best opportunity of the day right there for Lynchburg. Swan sniffed it out. And we head to the locker rooms at 1-0. The 11th ranked Shenandoah Hornets out in front of the 13th ranked Lynchburg Hornets through the first 30 minutes. We'll be back for the final 30 here from the Hill City on LHSN.
Lynchburg really stood out for me just because of the way it treated its students. They really do make an effort here. And I've learned that over my 4 years is that they actually do try to listen to what the student body wants, and they try to act on that. They don't really just give you a piece of paper here to then go off and do your own thing. They actually prepare you to like work with different populations, which is what the world is all about. It's just working with people that are different than you. They genuinely care that everyone has the ability to go off into the world and make a difference with whatever they like. For me, that's just being basically in a room with someone helping them achieve their first goal of, I don't know, doing a pull-up. I actually do believe they want you to do the best you can to change someone's life for the better. You can be anyone here, which I think is really cool. But regardless of who you are here, they will make sure you don't fall through the cracks, which is awesome. I have realized that I've never felt lost here. I will not regret ever coming here, that's for sure. So I'm very glad that I came here. Yeah, it's actually pretty awesome.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities, learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the athletic training laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me, who need a shot and who are getting one. Without donations, without you individuals that are helping to donate to the university and the Lynchburg Fund, there would be no student body president, Davion Washington. There'd probably be I'm stuck at home, Davion Washington. Not only is your donation building leaders, but it's building leaders like myself and others that will hopefully want to pay it forward one day and do the same thing. I know for a fact that, when I have it, because I will, I want to give back to this university that provided me a home for 4 years.
Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting. Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
If you like being close with your professors, if you like being in small classes that help with one-on-one, if you like being in positive communities that help you train your weak points and strengthen your strong points, then the University of Lynchburg is a great place to go. You can never go wrong with the amount of help that they offer, the amount of self-sacrifice that other people will put in for you. It has a beautiful campus, it has dedicated teachers, it has nice students, it has fun activities, and it has plenty of things to do.
Hello and welcome back. It's a 1-0 ball game after Shenandoah found the back of the net in the first quarter. It was a missile off the stick of DeLiva. That currently puts us where we sit now, 1-0 in a rematch of last year's ODAC championship. If you're just now joining us, this game's got big time implications. Here as we celebrate Senior Day in the regular season finale for both of these teams. Lynchburg and Shenandoah, both Hornets, tied for first place in the ODAC standings, undefeated, a 7-0 perfect record for both of these squads. Neither of them has lost since September. For Lynchburg, it was the last week of September. For Shenandoah, they haven't lost since September 10th. It was their fourth game of the year that they dropped. They started the season 2-2. Since then, they've been on an absolute tear. And this one has just a little bit of extra oomph in it. These two teams quite familiar with one another in ODAC play for field hockey. In the last 6 seasons, Shenandoah has been knocked out of the ODAC tournament by the hands of the Lynchburg Hornets. I mentioned it's a rematch of last year's championship. That was a 1-2 final in favor of Lynchburg. The 2 years before, in 2022 and 2021, Lynchburg got 3-1 victories in the semifinal against Shenandoah. The year before that, it was a 4-5 victory in the semifinal for Lynchburg in overtime. The year before that, dating all the way back to 2019, it was an 0-2 victory for Lynchburg in overtime as Swan punches another potential goal past once again. She has been straight nails all day long. Make that her 6th save of the afternoon. But we go back 2019, 0-2 victory for Lynchburg in the championship over Shenandoah. And the year before that, in 2018, a 2-7 loss for Shenandoah at the hands of the Lynchburg Hornets. So to recap, in the last 7 years, Lynchburg has defeated Shenandoah 3 times in the championship and 4 times in the ODAC semifinal, one of which was an overtime victory. Safe to say Shenandoah really wants to come in and spoil the fun on Senior Day for the Lynchburg Hornets. And of course, it all won't be said and done today. These two teams certainly high odds of seeing each other once again, if history tells us anything, when ODAC play begins next week. Schuchter with a nice feed to Dorestein, balancing it on her stick, trying to thread the needle and split 2 defenders. Reclaims possession, but immediately tackled It's Elise Velasquez that's taking it away. Now white jerseys headed downfield. Kanye Mazizi jumps in at midfield, now trying to weave through traffic, but touches out of bounds. She doesn't agree with the call, and neither does the Lynchburg sideline. Assistant coach Noah Den Hartog having a word with the officials. Intercepted by Mazizi. Whistle called on Lehan. Mallory Lamb at midfield. Taken away by a white jersey. Back and forth we go at midfield. The first quarter was deadlocked. Both teams went back and forth, trading possessions in each's respective offensive third. It was just one goal from Shenandoah that has been the difference maker. However, in the second quarter, possession dominated by Shenandoah. You can't emphasize that enough. Lynchburg got 2 shots off towards the tail end of the quarter, both that happened in the final 55 seconds of that second quarter. Up until then, Lynchburg hadn't crossed the field and gotten the ball out of their defensive half for the first 13 minutes of action in the second quarter. Off to a different start that mimics the first quarter more so here in the third. Mazizi, backhanded shot, ricocheted right into the noggin of Farron Winters, shakes it off with ease. We've talked a whole lot today about Cassidy Morrison, the grad student that has 18 goals this season, that leads the ODAC in both goals and in points. Morrison has built off what has been a phenomenal career with the Shenandoah Hornets, but you also have to give a whole lot of credit to her company in Winter Farron and Elizabeth Randberger. Let's start with Winter, someone that comes into this season, or comes into this game rather, with 13 goals and 7 assists, and the way she's done it is extraordinarily impressive, especially in how she's closed things off. She had a 6-game streak with a goal. Big time stop from the Hornets. Now they try and clear it, taken right back by the white jerseys. But a 6-game stretch where she recorded 8 of her 13 goals on this season, one of which included a hat trick against Center. At the beginning of the season was much more of a pass-first player. Had a 4-game stretch with assists in every game. A big part of why she leads this team in assists. She's also tied with Elizabeth Randberger. Randberger also a key distributor. 2 goals in the last 3 games. So we take another look at that opportunity for Shenandoah, where they found the back of the cage, but a whistle was called, overturning the goal. Keeping us stuck at a 1-0 score. Big swing to change field position. Lynchburg with a trap and an easy win. Oh, pardon me, wow. Mark got tangled up with DeLiva, but Mark is the one that gets whistled. And she certainly does not agree with the call, you could tell by her conversation with the official. Nonetheless, Mallory Lamb reclaims possession, intercepted immediately from Regan Fields. We'll get a stoppage. A whole lot of confusion on the turf. It seems like Lamb is being escorted to the sideline. Lamb and Velasquez now having a meeting with both the official and head coach Jenny Relaford, and a green card has been awarded. Still Lynchburg ball at midfield. Lifted up towards the blue line for Dorestein. Bounces off the stick, over to a white jersey, then Dorestein takes it right back. Lynchburg, a team that averages over 4 goals a game, has been shut out for 2.5 quarters. Transition opportunity for Shenandoah. They're out and running. Good move from Randberger. Randberger across the middle. Free ball. And a foul on the white jerseys. D'Oliva at midfield, dishes it off for Morrison. Whistle called on Shenandoah. Now Dorestein, well downfield, looking for Pleiter. Pleiter has space. Jill Pleiter working in transition. Jill Pleiter tries to feed across the middle. Madison Mark had her chance snuffed out by D'Oliva, who jumped on top of the ball, resulting in a penalty corner. The 6th of the day for Lynchburg. In their first 5 attempts, the Hornets have not been able to capitalize on any of these penalty corner opportunities. Now it'll be Allie Freeman as the injector. Freeman up top for Balsamo. She'll let it fly. Finds the back of the cage. Aurora Balsamo, how do you do? We highlighted her in the open. We highlighted her at every penalty corner. And this time they put her up top at the castle, and Balsamo finds the equalizer. Let's take another look. There was no doubt about it. She wasn't looking for the pass. She said, I'm wide open. I'm going to let this fly. And just like that, the complexion of this game is entirely different with one swing of the wood. Under 6 minutes left to be played here in the 3rd quarter in a tie ball game, and an uncharacteristic turnover from Shenandoah deep in their own territory. Dorestein gets the offense started before anybody's ready. Back up top, Callie Short. Pardon me, Sar Prince. Foul called on Shenandoah. Prince back up top to Freeman. Freeman at the top of the key. Crossover inside the semicircle. Stripped. Tackle made by Farron Winter. Now Winter approaching midfield. Tested by Megan Stifler, who pokes it out of play. This will allow the Lynchburg defense to get in position. Hard ball downfield. Tackle by Van Meter. Van Meter tried to split 2 white jerseys. Called for obstruction. Winter went to the corner trying to connect with Cavellos. Out of play here, Hornets ball. Their biggest struggle all day long has just been getting it out of their defensive half of the field and crossing that timeline. Lauren Mark can't hang on, rolls out of play, and just like that, Shenandoah takes back over in great field position. Mark takes the ball to the ankle that rolls towards midfield. Now Farron Winter can set up at the top of the key. She'll hand things off to Velasquez. Velasquez starting to feel some pressure. Maddie Schuchter, nobody out in front. Schuchter with a great pass. Grace Peterson stopped by the great stout defense of DeLiva. DeLiva has been impenetrable all day long and has also made her presence felt on the offensive end with a goal. Kicked away by Swan in the semicircle. Good approach from the veteran keeper out of Crisfield, Maryland. You see why from a statistical standpoint, Swan is one of, if not the best, keeper in the ODAC. The most shutouts this season with 6. Weinferdner. Crafty move, gets her hands free. Connects with Van Meter. Van Meter tangled up with Velasquez. Whistle call on the Hornets, on Lynchburg. In a game with two teams that are Hornets, you rarely see that. If you get two Bulldogs, that's one thing, but Hornets more of a unique mascot that you don't see across the NCAA. Nonetheless, they have certainly on a whole lot of stingers today. At midfield, tackled by Schuchter. Possession reclaimed by Shenandoah. Waning moments of the third quarter. It's been back and forth. First quarter was dead even, despite one goal from Shenandoah. Second quarter was all Shenandoah, but they couldn't make their mark on the scoreboard. Here in the third quarter, it's been all Lynchburg, finding the equalizer with one swing of the stick from Aurora Balsamo. Whistle called on Shenandoah. Last chance here for Lynchburg in the third quarter. Schuchter plays it back. Far sideline. They've got enough time to get one off. A swing from Van Meter. Misses. And that is how we will conclude the third quarter. 15 more minutes to determine the regular season champion here in the ODAC at Schellenberger Field. Stick with us. Fourth quarter coming up.
I am a first-generation college student. I applied to 16 universities, and I actually had decided on going to a different university. But, doing, FAFSA and everything on my own and the need for good credit with the Parent Plus loan and everything like that. My plans kind of fell through. I just couldn't give up hope. And so I'm wrestling through this like shoebox I have full of like acceptance letters and financial aid letters. And I got my financial aid reward letter, and I also received scholarships from the school, and it was, the most affordable for me. They were excited to work with me. Financial aid really helped me out a lot with getting that situated, and I've just considered it a blessing ever since to go from 1 week not knowing whether or not I had to stay home for a year, and then the next week, knowing that this is where I'm going. It was meant to be, and obviously I consider this place my home, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me.
We've got 15 minutes remaining to determine the regular season champion of the ODAC season. Shenandoah got the party started. A goal scored by DeLaVie. Then Aurora Balsamo finds the equalizer in the third quarter with one swing of the stick, completely changing the complexion of today's ball game. I'm Joe Brennan here from Schellenberger Field in the Hill City. A battle between the Lynchburg Hornets and the Shenandoah Hornets. It's been a fun one through 45. Now 15 more minutes to go for one of these teams to find some separation. Both teams undefeated in ODAC play so far this year. Lynchburg undefeated at home, but Lynchburg also 1-2 against ranked opponents. Shenandoah 2-1 against ranked opponents. A showdown between the 11th and 13th ranked teams in the nation. The winner of today's game most likely will find themselves in the top 10 and borderline top 5 in the country, along with a regular season title in the conference and the first overall seed for next week's conference tournament. The conference tournament, a familiar spot for both of these teams. As I've mentioned, in the last 6 years, these two teams have met 3 times in the championship and 3 times in the semifinal of the ODAC tournament. All 6 of those won by Lynchburg. Nonetheless, a different coach at the helm this season for the Lynchburg Hornets. It's Jenny Relaford in her first season for Lynchburg, taking over the place of Enza Steele, who was with the Lynchburg field hockey program for over 4 decades. One of the longest standing and most winning coaches in the NCAA. And Relaford has taken the captain of the ship spot without any hiccups so far this year. 3-on-3 break here for Lynchburg. It's Pleiter out in front, leading the charge. Drops it off. Dorestein. What a save by Swan. There have been no ugly ducklings today for Swan. She has been practically impenetrable. 11 shots from Lynchburg, 8 saves. Only one that's gotten by her. A laser off the stick of Balsamo, the equalizer in the third quarter. Let's take another look at that last save by Swan. Just doing what she's done all day. You have Dorestein right there, able to put the go-ahead goal on the board. She has other plans. Madison Mark now trying to work her way inside, but a foul called on Lynchburg. $11 shots on the day for Lynchburg, 7 for Shenandoah. They did not get a single shot off in that last third quarter. Shenandoah had 4 shots in the first 3 in the second, nada in the third. Meanwhile, for Lynchburg, 5 shots in the third quarter, one of which was the one that has mattered the most. Mazizi in a battle at midfield with Mogar. Now called on Shenandoah. Mallory Lamb tries to rocket one past the Shenandoah defense. And Shenandoah and McCribbin start to march downfield. Right idea, wrong execution from Shenandoah, trying to lift one down the sideline. That's a tough pass to make. We've seen him make it multiple times today. They're the first miscue. Downfield for Mark, over the head of Hollup. But it's DeLeva who's been phenomenal today, taking it right back. Now tackled by Dorestein. Dorestein on the doorstep. A defensive save from Shenandoah's Morgan. A big-time stop. But Lynchburg continuing to apply pressure. Mazizi takes it from the blue line. Works past 3 defenders. Inside this semicircle. Batted away. But another penalty corner for the Hornets. This the 7th penalty corner of the day for Lynchburg. They hadn't converted on the first 5. It was the most recent, where they got a goal from Balsamo, as we can see a replay of that last sequence from Dorestein. Another big-time stop from Swan. Schuchter the injection up to Balsamo. Can she do it again? No. Phenomenal defense, poking that ball away. It was Madison Short that has sparked this transition opportunity. Balsamo tried to wind it up. Shenandoah said, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me, I can't get fooled again. Madison Mark to the inside, looking for Dorestein. Poked away, over to the stick of Mazizi. And tackled by Lanhad. And a foul called on the girls in black. Madison Mark with a tackle. Mark gets tangled up with Velasquez. Another whistle on Lynchburg, this time on Mallory Lamb. A couple of substitutions for the Hornets. Van Meter alongside Smith check in. Lifting pass, taken out of the air by Mark. Intercepted, and now Shenandoah's got a chance. Lamb has other plans. Lamb draws the foul. Quick pass over to Kanye. Now you start to see the connections. Freeman laying it out in front for Van Meter. Pass over to Dorestein. Right back to Van Meter. She'll swing it to Smith. Shenandoah defense quickly collapses on Margot Smith. Takes possession right back deep in their own territory. DeLeva will lift one up. Lamb once again, a girl that takes it out of the air. Downfield, Van Meter keeps it in play. No. They'll say that ball touched out of bounds. Another lift shot, lift pass I should say, down the near sideline. Beautiful execution this time around. Mazizi with an interception at midfield. Nobody can stop her. Mazizi trying to thread the needle. Can't hook up with Schuchter. Now Shenandoah's got some daylight. And a whistle on Lynchburg will allow them to regroup towards midfield. Halfway through the final quarter of action, still knotted up at 1 apiece. Who can pull away? Right outside the far wing, Shenandoah can regroup. Freeman got tangled up. Foul called on her, drawn by Nakamura. Nakamura now driving baseline. Another whistle in a similar spot towards that far corner. She'll retreat. Now looks for a centering feed. Same result. Go right back to square one. Nakamura drives inside. A lot of congestion on the interior. Whistle called on Shenandoah. Quick passing has been the recipe for success. Lynchburg trying to clear it downfield. Also Mzizi going to the X Factor. In transition, they've got numbers. Poked away, but a foul called on Shenandoah. Danny Kuhn now. Danny Kuhn looking to the inside. DeLeva has been a brick wall in the back line for Shenandoah today. Foul called on Lynchburg. Good play made by Smith on the near sideline, looking for Weinferdner. Two Shenandoah Hornets come out of the pack, and they draw a foul. Downfield for Van Meter. Poked away, but out of bounds. Last touch by Hollup. Weinferdner called with obstruction on McCribbin. Two seniors working on one another. Smith took a hard ball to the shin. She'll stay in this contest and fight through it. Hollup tries to lift one past Mzizi, able to get her stick in the air and knock it right back down. But Shenandoah continuing to march downfield. Winter, a beautiful feed, looking for the leading goal scorer in Morrison. Danny Kuhn, she's got Dorestein. While Shenandoah takes it back, Lynchburg was able to change field position. Shenandoah deep in their own territory, 3.5 left to go in regulation. Hollup lines a hard ball downfield, rolls out of play. Lynchburg will take over on the opposite side of the field. Weinferdner trying to reverse the field. Watkins hooks up with Dorestein. Dorestein streaking downfield, showing off the wheels. Tried to go through the legs, looking to go 5-hole through the defender. Lynchburg in a good setup, but a whistle must have been a high stick right there from Madison Mark. 2.5 to go. Already starting to feel like free field hockey. Bolsamo draws the whistle. Allie Freeman inside the semicircle. DeLiva sends it right back to her. Avery Watkins now will reverse the field. Olivia Muir gets tangled up, then rockets one down to Dorestein. Dorestein trying to get her hands free, looking for a streaking Schuchter. Chases it down to the corner to keep on possession. And a foul called on Schuchter. 90 seconds to go. Near sideline. Still in play, rolls out. Flirted with that sideline all the way down to about the blue line. Weinferdner for Mark. Makes one man miss. Mark still going. Mark towards the semicircle and loses possession. Tangled up with DeLiva once again, no whistle. DeLiva has caused constant issues all day long for this Lynchburg offense. Now under a minute to go. A good string of passes here from Shenandoah, gets it downfield. They've got their leading goal scorer with a good pass across the middle. Shenandoah calling for a delay of game after the hit from Weinferdner. Someone that this program already doesn't like enough after the game winner in the ODAC championship last season. Across the middle. Weinferdner breaks it up. A scrum for it. And that will end regulation. Free Faki from the Hill City. Well, we knew these teams were about as even as they could get. Taylor Swan's been a big factor here today. One of the best goalkeepers in the conference. Kept it tied at 1-1. 9 saves for Shenandoah through regulation. And these two teams, top 15 programs, undefeated in conference play, headed to OT. We'll see you there on LHSN.
Lynchburg really stood out for me just because of the way it treated its students. They really do make an effort here. And I've learned that over my 4 years is that they actually do try to listen to what the student body wants, and they try to act on that. They don't really just give you a piece of paper here to do.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities, learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
If you're just now joining us, I'm not sure where you've been, but we're glad to have you here at Schellenberger Field. A battle between the 11th-ranked Shenandoah Hornets and the 13th-ranked Lynchburg Hornets. Coming into today, these two teams on a crash course collision for one another. In the last 6 years, these teams have met every single time in the ODAC tournament. Lynchburg has won all 6 of those affairs, 3 of which were in the championship, the other 3 in the semifinals, and one of which, I might add, went to overtime. Nonetheless, neither of these teams have dropped a game since September. Shenandoah has been undefeated, unblemished since September 10th. For Lynchburg, it's been the final week of September, but they're undefeated at home, undefeated in conference play, as I've mentioned. And today, a golden goal will determine who will be the ODAC regular season champion. 10 minutes on the clock, and we're off and running. 5-on-5. Lynchburg is 1-0 in overtime games this season. Shenandoah is 1-0 in overtime games as well. That overtime victory for Shenandoah was their most impressive win of the season. Handed the second-ranked Salisbury Seagulls one of their 2 losses this season. It's Balsamo with a good feed to Kanye. Kanye working inside, dishes it off, but picked away. Now Balsamo gets it right back. They go up top for Schuchter. Schuchter takes a tumble to the turf. Now Shenandoah's out and running. Taken away. Good defensive stand from the junior defenseman Olivia Muir. Now Mazizi draws a whistle. Schuchter will head to the sideline. Dorestein will take her place. Freeman, a centering feed that ricochets off the body of DeLiva. DeLiva has been unbelievable today. A stout defensive anchor for Shenandoah this afternoon, along with their sole goal. Obstruction called on Shenandoah. Dorestein off and running. They'll tell her to retreat and allow everybody to regroup. Mazizi to Dorestein on the inside. Balsamo trying to track this one down. Rolls out of play. Shenandoah ball. Just 2 minutes into overtime. The first 120 seconds controlled by Lynchburg. A clash of the Hornets. Out of bounds. Last touch by Madison Short. Allie Freeman will take it from the blue line on the near sideline. Freeman to Mazizi. A spin cycle move. Gets her hands free, but quickly collapsed on by a host of white jerseys. Then the penalty drawn by Farron Winter. DeLiva, top of the semicircle in her own territory, swings it near side for Madison Short. Short, a rocket downfield, trying to flip field position, but rolls out of bounds at midfield. Allie Freeman will go grab the pearl and bring it back to the center of the field. Freeman loses the handle. She thought it was still in play. Shenandoah wants to delay a game, but she thought she was still going. There have been a few moments like that today. where Lynchburg has thought the ball was still in play when it was called out on the sideline. Freeman tangled up, wins the battle. And a whistle called, number 8 on McCribbin. Freeman near side for Balsamo. Balsamo looking to center it into the semicircle, takes possession right back. Balsamo, top of the key, Balsamo! Saved by Swan once again. Swan has been beautiful today. McCribbin still running. Obstruction call on Kanye. McCribbin almost went coast to coast. The field has opened up significantly here in overtime. Dorestein working in transition. Balsamo heads to the sideline. Danny Kuhn takes her place. She's got gas. Danny Kuhn calling for it. Dorestein can't connect with her. Back over to Freeman. Whistle on Lynchburg. We're halfway through this first overtime. A lifting pass. I don't think Lynchburg realizes they don't have numbers. Freeman's got to run. Nakuma wide open on the doorstep. What a stop by Scoons. Whistle called on Lynchburg. This will be a penalty corner. Seems like the Lynchburg Hornets might have just run out of gas. Having to run the full length of the field for about the third time. You can see inside the goal. Lynchburg just trying to gather themselves and catch a breath. The injection up top to Leva. And this one's offline. Freeman to Kuhn on the near sideline. She's got Pleiter downfield looking to hook up with her. Pleiter. On the baseline. Out of bounds, last touch by Shenandoah. We go penalty corner to penalty corner, the 8th of the day for Lynchburg, the first here in overtime. Maddie Schuchter will be the injector. No Balsamo on the field now. Lined up is Freeman behind with Mazizi, Pleiter, and Kuhn along the edges of the semicircle. The injection to Mazizi. Mazizi takes 2 dribbles. Now goes to her right hand. The shot is sent back. And Shenandoah able to keep it in play. Foul called on Shenandoah. Now Schuchter headed right back towards the goal. Pass over to Mazizi. Now to Freeman. Center of the field. Freeman gets her hands free. Glove save. Swan once again with a big-time save, but a whistle on Shenandoah once again, and a great opportunity for Lynchburg. Same exact formation we just saw for Lynchburg. Kuhn, Mazizi, Pleiter along the edges with Schuchter as the injector. They go right back to Mazizi. Over to Kuhn. Kuhn can't do anything with it. rolls out of play. Last off a white jersey. 3.5 to go here in the first overtime. Shenandoah takes possession once again. A host of substitutions ready to come on.
Who's got gas in their tank? Let's go!
A late whistle, wow. Nonetheless, bodes in the favor of the Hornets. Here's Pleiter, the freshman, working in transition. Stripped away, a beautiful tackle from the Shenandoah defense. Kick back towards midfield. Olivia Muir's right there to clean it up. Olivia Muir out in front of this ball, looking for some help. Trying to go through the legs of Fields. Freeman with a good pass downfield to Dorestein, who can't corral it. You can see that the gas tank is running on E for both of these teams right now. Fatigue starting to set in, especially in this back and forth contest here in overtime. 8 minutes played and about 8 miles run. Maddie Schuchter goes far sideline for Mazizi. Mazizi in the corner. Trying to use her stick work to get herself free. She'll draw a foul. Another penalty corner, the third of this overtime period for Lynchburg, the 10th of the day. That has been the one category they have dominated thus far. And it has resulted in a plethora of shots as well. Lynchburg almost doubling the total of shots as Shenandoah 15-8 currently as we stand. That separation, more so of a disparity here in the overtime period. Schuchter up top. This time they'll go to Dorestein. Dorestein for Mazizi, just a tad out of reach, but she's able to keep it in play with a diving save. Mazizi driving baseline. Great defense from Shenandoah. It goes back up top to the blue line. Shenandoah with possession. A minute left to be played in the first overtime period. A chance here for Shenandoah. Out in front, it's DeLiva. DeLiva, the pass is converted. The golden goal with 41 seconds left. Shenandoah is your regular season champion. For the first time since 2022, Shenandoah takes down Lynchburg. A transition goal that ricocheted off a Lynchburg defender and left him wide open right on the doorstep for Farron Winter, her 14th goal of the regular season. And as I say, Shenandoah with a first win since 2022. That same year, Lynchburg bested them in the championship. So with that, Shenandoah has won the battle, but these two teams will most likely see each other once again. The 1 and 2 seed will probably see each other in the championship. If we know anything about history, they've seen each other the last 6 years. And Shenandoah with a big-time statement win. Another ranked win for Shenandoah. And for Lynchburg, a brutal loss on Senior Day. 2-1 our final. And I'm excited for the first of what will be most likely 2 games between these 2 teams this year. That'll do it. That's all we've got here for this matchup. Stick with us. We've got men's soccer coming up. First game in the ODAC tournament as the first seed Hornets take on the EMU Royals. I've been Joe Brennan. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday afternoon with me. I'll see you guys next time.